A new dawn rises over the African continent, as leaders, visionaries, and changemakers gather in Cape Town to usher in an era of unity, prosperity, and growth. The Africa and Continental Free Trade Agreement Business Forum brings together the best minds and influential figures, all committed to transforming Africa's future.
It is a real pleasure to be able to comment and provide some input on the sidelines of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement Business Forum, which is taking place at the Convention Centre in Cape Town. Firstly, let me take the opportunity to welcome many of the delegates, the VIPs, the former heads of state, ministers, members of the African Development Bank, the African Union Commission, and of course the General Secretary of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement Secretariat, Mr. Wamkeli, to Cape Town. This idea of Africa being able to unite to reduce the difficulties in doing business between countries on the African continent in terms of providing goods and services, in terms of digital services, etc., is a wonderful idea. It is now Africa's time to be able to unite the African continent, to be able to allow for intra-trade between African countries to be able to be much greater than the trade that exists between Africa and the rest of the world. As a Cape Townian, as a South African, as an African, it is about time that Africans come together to enhance the prosperity of the African continent through the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and its 4 different mechanisms in the industries of pharmaceuticals and agribusiness, automotive, etc. It's a great opportunity for Africans to be able to create jobs, have investments coming into the African continent, and most importantly, to have goods and services flowing between the countries in the African continent, which allows for higher GDPs of the continent. I think it is time that the continent, with its more than 1 billion people, reaches its GDP of possibly as high as between $3 and $6 trillion over the next decade, or certainly by 2030. I must congratulate the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, led by the Secretary General, Mr. Wamkeli, but I also have to congratulate the champions, including the former President of Niger, for having championed the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, as well as the African Union, and of course finance institutions on the African continent, such as President Adesina of the Africa Development Bank. I should also mention at the same time the important role that the World Economic Forum has played, and in particular my participation in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement has resulted from various meetings in the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos, where the idea or the sessions on the Continental Free Trade Agreement were discussed, and the various proposals and the white paper or the paper of the World Economic Forum was published. This is a truly great moment for Africa, and as an African, I'm proud, firstly because we are getting our act together. Secondly, we're going to, through this, encourage trade and investment. Thirdly, we're going to encourage investment, which will cause jobs to be created on the African continent. But lastly and importantly, as a Cape Townian, I'm delighted that this meeting is being hosted in Cape Town, and the delegates from all over the African continent are able to see the beauty of our mother city, which is Cape Town. Thank you.